So JD Vance, after trying to attack Governor Walz for stolen valor, and that backfired, now JD Vance is trying to attack Governor Walz's relationship with his wife and saying that because Governor Walz shook his wife's hand, that is weird and people shouldn't call JD Vance weird. They should be calling Governor Walz weird. Well, thanks for opening up the Pandora's box into talking about the relationships between people running for the presidency and their spouse, JD Vance, because you may just want to look at Donald Trump and see that the nicest thing that can be said about Donald Trump is that Melania refused to kiss him at the Republican National Convention, or that Donald Trump would shake Melania's hands when she would refuse to kiss him. That's like the nicest thing, because we can go further into this story, JD Vance, and talk about Donald Trump's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. We can talk about how Donald Trump was found liable for sexual assault. We could talk about how Donald Trump is on video bragging about sexually assaulting women. We can talk about how Donald Trump gave a speech in front of young Republicans in New York and said the bravest thing that he ever did, as told to him by a military general, was bragging that when he bragged about sexually assaulting women, that was locker room talk. He says that was very courageous by him to call sexually assaulting women locker room talk. We could get into all of this, JD Vance. We can talk about the fact that Donald Trump has kids with 3 different women. We can talk about how Donald Trump's first wife, Ivana, accused Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her. She later retracted it, but we can go through a book where parts of her deposition transcript were transcribed by a writer. We can talk about how Ivana, Donald Trump's first wife, who's now deceased after falling downstairs, is buried in the back lot of Donald Trump's golf course in such a ghoulish manner with the shrubs covering over the burial site. JD Vance, do you want us to get into those topics? Because I'm coming here with receipts at the MeidasTouch Network. All right, JD Vance. First, let me show the public what you said so they can hear it in your own words, JD. Then I'm going to take out receipt by receipt by receipt. So sit back, buckle up, JD, and I think you're going to want to watch this. So here's what JD Vance was saying over the weekend. Play the clip.
I had just been announced as the VP nominee. I gave my big speech, and I saw my wife, and I gave her a big hug and a kiss because I love my wife, and I think that's what a normal person does. Tim Walz gave his wife a nice, firm Midwestern handshake and then tried to sort of awkwardly correct for it. So I think that what it is 2 people, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who aren't comfortable in their own skin because they aren't comfortable with their policy positions for the American people. And so they're name calling instead of actually telling the American people how they're going to make their lives better. I think that's weird, Dana, but look, they can call me whatever they want to.
You're saying Tim Walz doesn't have affection for his wife? I don't even understand that.
I said that he acted weird, which he did, on a national stage in front of his wife and in front of millions of Americans.
Okay, JD Vance, let me just show you. Here's one of dozens of clips I can show like this, but here is Donald Trump kind of awkwardly shaking Melania's hand and then awkwardly pushing her aside. Play this clip.
Thank you, Ivanka. Fantastic stuff, honey. Fantastic stuff. You go sit down, honey.
And here's what happened at the Republican National Convention recently, where Melania refused to give Donald Trump a kiss. By the way, this part of the video, JD Vance, as I know you're watching this, JD Vance, this is the nicest that could be said about Donald Trump, these 2 clips. Let's play this other one. All right, JD Vance, let me educate you. Sit back and relax. How did Donald Trump meet Melania? Well, Donald Trump met Melania because she was working for a guy named Paolo Zampoli, and Paolo Zampoli ran a modeling agency that brought in Eastern European women, and then he would throw parties at the Kit Kat Club for wealthy men in Manhattan, and he was the one who made the introduction. Melania's got an Einstein visa. Her whole process was expedited. The whole thing is incredibly suspicious. She then brought her parents into the United States of America as Donald Trump tried to literally ban that policy and process for others. But that's how Melania got into the United States. Now, when Melania was pregnant, Donald Trump was having an affair with multiple women while Melania was pregnant. Karen McDougal, who was a Playboy model, and Stormy Daniels, who was a porn star. Here's Karen McDougal describing it, because JD Vance, you want me to bring out the receipts, right? So here's Karen McDougal saying what happened with Donald Trump while Melania was pregnant. Play this clip.
You said you had sex that first time. All these times you saw him, this was an ongoing sexual relationship.
Absolutely.
Can you estimate how many times you actually saw him?
I can tell you we saw each other a minimum 5 times a month, up to bigger numbers per month. So
Over the course of how long?
So we were together 10 months before I chose to end it. So we saw each other quite frequently.
So dozens of times you were together.
Many dozens of times,
And you were
yes.
intimate.
Yes.
Many dozens of times. Did he ever use protection?
No. No, he didn't.
Was that something you thought about, or it didn't concern you at the time?
You know, we talked about it right beforehand. He was starting to, and then he's like, I don't like these things. And, you know, we discussed things, do you, blah, blah, blah. And we were just honest with each other, and we didn't use any.
Here is Stormy Daniels describing Donald Trump. Play this clip.
Oh, is this the one?
And here's Donald Trump calling Stormy Daniels a horseface, which he repeatedly did in various campaign speeches over the past several months. Play this clip.
The District Attorney of New York, under the auspices and direction of the Department of Injustice in Washington, D.C., was investigating me for something that is not a crime, not a misdemeanor, not an affair. I never liked horseface. It's just not. It's a terrible thing. That wouldn't be the one. There is no one. We have a great first lady.
All right, we're pulling out more receipts, Shady, receipt after receipt. So Donald Trump was found liable for sexual assault, and he was also found liable for defamation. Let me show you. Here's just a portion of the deposition in the case where Donald Trump was found liable for sexual assault by a jury who heard all of the evidence. Donald Trump refused to testify. He actually fled the country. Donald Trump went to Scotland and Ireland and refused to actually testify at trial, although he was deposed. Let me show you this portion of the deposition. Play the clip.
In this video, I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet, just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the you can do anything. That's what you said, correct?
Well, historically, that's true with stars.
It's true with stars that they can grab women by the
Well, that's what it's. If you look over the last million years, I guess that's been largely true. Not always, but largely true. Unfortunately or fortunately.
And you consider yourself to be a star?
I think you can say that, yeah.
And here's Donald Trump when he was in Scotland and Ireland, and he was telling the press he was going to go back and confront E. Jean Carroll, but then never did. Here, play this clip.
Because of that, I have to leave Ireland and I have to leave Scotland, where I have great properties. I have to leave early. I don't have to, but I choose to.
Will you attend the trial, Mr. President?
I'll probably attend, and I think it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that it's allowed to happen. It's called false accusations against a rich guy, or in my case, against a famous, rich, and political person that's leading the polls by 40 points. And I have to go back for a woman that made a false accusation about me, and I have a judge who's extremely hostile. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to confront this woman. This woman is a disgrace, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen in our country.
Yeah, so Trump found liable for sexual assault. Shady Vance, you want to talk about relationships? You want to go there? Okay, let's talk about Donald Trump's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. For those who watch the MeidasTouch Network, you know we've done some deep dives into this. Donald Trump's all over Jeffrey Epstein's lists. He's over Epstein's call logs, message logs, flight logs. Took flights on Donald Trump's plane with girls of indeterminate age. Donald Trump said Epstein is a great guy who likes girls on the younger side. Donald Trump had women or girls who were recruited by Epstein's traffickers work at Mar-a-Lago. Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims, worked at Mar-a-Lago. Ghislaine Maxwell would find them. Find these girls at Mar-a-Lago, bring them to Epstein. That was part of the process. Donald Trump was asked during the trafficking trial of Ghislaine what he wanted to say to her, and Donald Trump wished her well. Here, play this clip.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison, and so a lot of people want to know if she's going to turn in powerful people. And I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew, and you've criticized Bill Clinton's behavior. I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well. Whatever it is, I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it.
Also stories about Donald Trump on these yacht parties in the 1990s with girls who are 14 years old. Here are the girls that were in Donald Trump's competition. Donald Trump owned beauty competitions where things like this went down, and these girls were on the yacht. And as it was described by The Guardian, with guys old enough to be their grandfathers who were grinding on them, and Donald Trump is posing in photos with them. They competed in what was called the Look of the Year competition. This is very grotesque and disgusting. Donald Trump is on audio saying that one of the reasons he owns these beauty pageants is so he can inspect the girls naked. Here, play this clip without their consent, of course. Play this clip.
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like.
Here's Donald Trump talking about Lindsay Lohan when she was either 17 or had just turned 18, and he fantasizes about having sex with her because she has mental health issues. Play this clip.
What do you think of Lindsay Lohan now?
I think she's hot.
There's something there, right?
Yes.
But you have to like freckles. I've seen a close-up of her chest.
Yes.
And a lot of freckles. Are you into freckles?
If the father's a wreck like the way he is,
right?
You imagine the sex with this troubled.
Yeah, you're probably right. She's probably deeply troubled and therefore great in bed.
Back in the day.
How come the deeply troubled women?
Yes.
Deeply troubled.
Right.
They're always the best in bed. If for some reason what I said is true, I mean, they're just unbelievable.
I can tell from the.
You don't want to be with them for the long term, but for the short term, there's nothing.
Hey, Shady Vance, do you want me to keep on going here? Because I could keep bringing out receipt after receipt, Shady Vance. How about the way Donald Trump talks about his daughter, Shady Vance, like this? Here, play this clip.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
If I weren't happily married and, her father.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
She's tall.
She's almost 6 feet.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
And Shady Vance, do you want me to talk about how when Donald Trump gives his campaign speeches, he talks about sex acts with hookers and he talks about golden showers? You want me to bring out those receipts, Shady Vance? Here, play this clip.
He was with 4 hookers. You think that was good that night to go up and tell my wife, it's not true, darling, I love you very much? It's not true. Actually, that one she didn't believe because she said he's a germaphobe. He's not into that, He's not into golden showers, as they say they call that. He's not. I don't like that idea. No, I didn't. I thought that would be a big problem. I was going to have a rough night, but that one she was very good on. She said, no.
And JD Vance, here's where Donald Trump's deceased first wife is buried at Bedminster, in the back area, with shrubs growing over it. This is from a book that's called The Lost Tycoon. It's published in 1993. Here's what was described in this. I want to give a trigger warning. I'm going to be describing a sexual assault that Ivana, Donald Trump's first wife, described. She later retracted the statement, and I'll read for you the retraction so you can hear it for yourself. But this is what Ivana Trump said about Donald Trump. Ivana Trump has been relaxing in the master bedroom of the Trump Tower triplex, thinking about the trip she will be going to take to Tahiti. The trip will not just be for a vacation. It has to do with the Donald's business. Lauren Etes, the widow of the late Trump gaming division executive Mark Etes, will be going with her. Ivana has been hoping the trip will help them get over the tragedy of the helicopter crash. Suddenly, according to Ivana, the Donald storms into the room. He is looking very angry and he is cursing out loud. "Your effing doctor has ruined me," he screams. The Donald flings Ivana down onto the bed, then he pins back her arms and grabs her by the hair. The part of her head he is grabbing corresponds to the spot on his head where the scalp reduction operation has been done. The Donald starts ripping out Ivana's hair by the handful as if he is trying to make her feel the same kind of pain that he is feeling. Ivana starts crying and screaming. The entire bed is being covered with strands of her golden locks. But the Donald is not finished. He rips off her clothes and unzips his pants. Then he jams his penis inside her for the first time in more than 16 months. Ivana is terrified. This is not lovemaking. This is not romantic sex. It is a violent assault. She later describes what the Donald is doing to her in no uncertain terms. According to the version she repeats to some of her closest confidants, "He raped me." When the Donald finally pulls out, Ivana jumps up from the bed. Then she runs upstairs to her mother's room. She locks the door and stays there crying for the rest of the night. The next morning, Ivana musters up the courage to return to the master bedroom. The Donald is there waiting for her. He leaves no doubt that he knows exactly what he did to her the night before. As she looks in horror at the ripped out hair scattered all over the bed, he glares at her and asks with menacing casualness, "Does it hurt?" And here's what the author then writes. On April 7, 1993, when the first printing of The Lost Tycoon was awaiting shipment, the publisher, who had met with Donald Trump and his lawyers on March 3rd, received the following communication from Donald Trump's lawyers. The statement by Ivana Trump does not contradict or invalidate any information contained in this book, and it is included here only to give full expression to the differing points of views on an important event. Statement of Ivana Trump. During a deposition given by me in connection with my matrimonial case, I stated that my husband had raped me. I wish to say that on one occasion during 1989, Mr. Trump and I had marital relations in which he behaved very differently toward me than he had during our marriage. As a woman, I felt violated. As the love and tenderness which he normally exhibited towards me was absent, I referred to this as a rape, but I do not want my words to be interpreted in a literal criminal sense. Any contrary conclusion would be an incorrect and most unfortunate interpretation of my statement, which I do not want to be interpreted in a speculative fashion, and I do not want the press or media to misconstrue any of the facts set forth above. All I wish is for this matter to be put to rest. This statement can only be released and used in its entirety. Approved, Ivana M. Trump, dated April 6th, 1993. So, JD Vance, I know you want to bring up relationships, you want to bring up stolen valor, you want to bring up all of these things. Governor Walz served our nation with distinction for 24 years in the military. How dare you criticize his military service? And now you're going after his loving relationship with his wife. Like, what a sick human being you are. You really are. And as Governor Shapiro said, you just don't know your identity. You've had 3 different names. You've had 4 separate identities. You grew up and told people you thought you were gay until your grandma told you you couldn't be gay. Then you became anti-gay, became anti-LGBTQ. You changed your name again. You became a fake hillbilly and claimed you're from Appalachia, even though you're not from Appalachia. Then you attacked people from Appalachia, and you were an anti-Trump hillbilly. That was your whole shtick. Then you became MAGA. and then said you love Donald Trump, and you said you kissed his ass. And, you know, now there are photos. Anyway, I'll stop there. JD Vance. You forced me to take out those receipts. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.